Hello, everybody. It's been a little while since I've posted anything on YouTube, especially anything of the running vlog variety. But one thing I always like to do for myself every marathon season is I like going through the race, really step by step mentally. In the past, I've actually written out turn by turn, water station by water station, every single thing you need for the marathon. And I thought this time I would go through and do it in a video format. So that's what I'm going to do today. We're going to work through it via a few different angles. And I think if you watch this, it'll give you a lot of insight into the Columbus Marathon that you might not get otherwise just by looking through the course yourself. As for me, why do I have any sort of expertise on this, or where am I coming from, I guess? I've run the last four Columbus marathons, and last year the course was literally identical. They didn't change anything this year, so I have run it quite a few times, and I'm pretty well acquainted with it. I'm also a Columbus resident, and I take the time to train on the course quite often. Several sections I pretty much made a habit to run weekly. So I really know this course pretty well. So you might get some insight watching this that you wouldn't get just from looking at a course map. Um, in total, I've run, this will be my seventh marathon. Columbus is in 7 days. This will be my seventh marathon. I've run Columbus four times and Glass City twice. My PR is 2:59:44, which I set last April. And yeah, that's kind of my quick running resume if you want to know where I'm coming from. So let's go ahead and break this down. All right, so now we're looking at the Strava file from the course I ran last year. So here's kind of a big view of the course. Um, Ignore the splits. I got bronchitis and things went bad towards the end. But you can get an idea of this. We got an elevation tracker here where I can give you exact elevation on every point of the course. We're going to be using this quite a bit. This is what we're going to be walking through a lot, so I'll come back to that in a second. Here is the course map provided on the website. It has a basic elevation chart, but it's kind of hard to read. But the information we're really going to get off this is exact mile markers and water stations, as well as gel stations. I'm probably going to have to break this up into parts. I imagine walking through this completely is going to take quite a bit of time, and my YouTube account only allows me to upload 15 minutes at a time. So about every 10-15 minutes when we come to a convenient spot, I'm going to stop. The first part I'm planning on really talking a lot about pre-race stuff. So if you want to get into the meat of the course, I would probably skip to part 2 right away. In fact, let's just go ahead and say that. Part 1, I'm going to concentrate just on pre-race, even if it's only 5 or 6 minutes. Part 2, I will start actually walking through the course. All right, so let's get into it. Let's not waste any time here. So we're going to zoom in on the map here. Oops, that's zooming out. And I have it on satellite so we can see kind of some landmarks with the course that you wouldn't be able to get on the course map by itself. I'm using Map My Run right now to do this, and so the course is locked into streets. The course distance is a little off because of that. You're not able to round any curves or anything like that, so it has us running an extra quarter mile or so. But every time I've run Columbus, my GPS comes out to about 26.4, so you can kind of count on that being a little bit over anyway, as you can with pretty much any marathon. Glass City, I usually come out 26.3, so Columbus does tend to run a bit longer than that one. Those are the only two marathons I've run for comparison. So we start right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but where the star is on Long Street. I have to say Columbus's starting area is really well organized. There's tons and tons of porta potties. It's you have to have your bib ready. They check it for you to get in. There's a lot of security. I personally don't use the bag check, so I can't speak on that. But it just seems, compared to other races I've seen, to be top notch in terms of organization. And you're going to hear me talk about that a lot. It's just a really well organized race. So props to the committee. I know Darius Blackford has a huge part in that, and they just do an amazing job. There's 4 corrals that go back on Long Street, and I believe they still circle and actually kind of do a U along Spring Street. I know that's how it used to be. I'm not sure if they've changed that or not, but there are 18,000 people waiting at the start. It's going to be a lot of people. Just some tips for a beginner marathoner, because I've had some people reaching out to me lately for marathon advice. So, just some tips for pre-race. Things you're going to want to do. One, use the bathroom a lot. You're going to be nervous. Your body, believe it or not, will instinctively want to kind of flush itself out. So, I make it a habit of pretty much as soon as I get in the corrals, going to the restroom at least once and maybe multiple times. It's just part of running. It is what it is. If you're a beginner runner in terms of warm up, I wouldn't worry too much about getting a warm up run in. I would probably just stick to some stretches to get you loose and your typical calisthenic, whatever you do to get loose for your runs. If you don't do some form of calisthenics to get loose, you might want to look into doing so because it does make a big difference. If you are someone who's run a marathon or several before and you're more racing this rather than just running it, right? You're racing it. You do want to do a warm up jog. I usually look at half a mile. And for me, what I've typically done is kind of done a nice little loop. I go down Neal to Nationwide Boulevard. It's a little bit of an incline, but not bad. And then I go on this little Marconi Street, come back down Spring Street, and that usually gets me far enough. Um, Sorry, I'm getting a phone call right now. So yeah, that's what I do in terms of warm up. In terms of nutrition, I always take a gel like 5 minutes before the race. I like to have one in me right from the start. I also am a big fan of these Stinger waffles. I kind of discovered about a year ago. They're like these dehydrated waffle things, and I actually like those a lot more than a granola bar or something. But I like to have something in my stomach. If you're a beginner wondering should I eat before the race, I typically do eat breakfast 2-3 hours before. Nothing heavy, just a bowl of some oatmeal or half a bagel, anything like that um, would be good. What else? What else? What else? You're going to want to get here early. Corrals open at 6. Race starts at 7:30. I usually aim to get here 6:15, 6:30 at the latest. If you have to drive yourself, allow time for parking. Traffic looks bad. If you live in the Columbus area, though, I would call up someone who owes you one, whether that's a friend or a family member, and have them drive you down and drop you off. Usually you can get um, I'm zooming in a little too far. Oh, that looks cooler. Maybe I should leave it like this. All right. I In the past I've gotten dropped off. Where is it? Um, it would be the 670 exit, I think. Yep, right around here. So we get off 670, drop off here, and you got a nice little walk down Neal. Nothing too bad, but you're probably going to have to walk a little bit to the start line. So allow time for that and to get your warm up on and all that stuff. It's supposed to be warm, yes, unfortunately. So last year it was 45 low, 76 high. I remember the real feel got up into the 80s during the race and it was hot. And bad news, guys, it's supposed to be even hotter this year. You can see the normal is a high of 65. We're looking at 80 right now. It is Ohio. We're 7 days away, so we can hope that that changes. But you're not going to need warm ups, really. I know sometimes with the marathon you want to have those throwaway clothes. If it's already 50 degrees, real feel, you're looking at 55, something like that, you probably can come in your running clothes and be ready to go. Sunrise is at 7:42, race starts at 7:30, so you know it's going to be a little dark, so just brace yourself for that if you've never been there. It's an awesome experience rolling up to the Columbus Marathon. Um, Yeah, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. The highways are completely empty. It's 6 in the morning on a Sunday. You're driving. It's just a ghost town. It's dark. You can see the lights of the city off in the distance, and then as you get close, it's just 18,000 people, and it's like a Saturday night in New York or something like that. There's just people everywhere, and it's a really cool feeling. And every single one of those 18,000 people are just so alert and so alive in the moment. Their butterflies are going. You can sense the energy. It really is unique. Yeah, I'm just excited thinking about it. I'm happy to be doing it for a fifth time. But it's going to be warm, it looks like, so brace yourselves. Hopefully, I'm wrong and AccuWeather is wrong, but that is where we're at. There is water stations around here, but once you get in, get warmed up, you're pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to call that a break for part one.